Magandang umaga, magandang hapon, magandang gabi kung anong oras mo man pinapanood ngayon ng ating show, and this is episode 2 of our Influencer Project. Again, para sa ating mga episodes na ito, we are inviting very, very inspirational people, SMEs in their own rights who succeeded, who went through the cycle up and down, paulit-ulit, gulong ng buhay as they call it. And today we have a very special guest, someone who's not just special to UnionBank GlobalLinker, but in the recent days, in the recent pandemic, was special in helping other SMEs get back. Even siya, ang ganda na storya. So, ayoko na patagalin. I'd like to introduce to everyone, Louie Villena. Hi, Louie.
Hi, JP. Hi, Marga. Hi, May. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody.
Oh, we have to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening kasi even if it's 10 o'clock in the morning ngayon, this is an on-demand thing So kahit panoorin nila yan na madaling araw, diba? Everyone is welcome to do so. Louie, how was your house weekend? Kamusta naman? Kamusta naman ngayong pandemic season?
The weekend was great. I was able to go out and date my wife. How I wish you guys are my friends in Facebook. So you could see kung ano in-upload kung. I rarely recommend the place. I rarely upload places. So first time we went to a certain cafe very near our place in Antipolo, but it's along Sumulong Highway. It was quaint. It was overlooking, but the name of the coffee shop is Kaulayaw, which means intimate relationship. So it was quite good, and the protocols were well in place, and the service was great. So it was more than just bonding namin ni Mrs. So we deliberately waited for the sunset para makuha ng picture yung sunset. Then we were back home. We were on the way home by 6 o'clock. So
That's
it was
nice.
great. It was great.
Sunset. Normally sa Rojas Boulevard ka pupunta for the sunset, but Antipolo, nice. Antipolo side na yan, ano? That's towards the cliffs.
Correct. Right? Yung overlooking side. Marami dyan.
And it's nice that you're still able to find time to go on dates despite of, no?
Yeah, but not as frequent as prior to the pandemic. But you see, the whole point today is how do you spend real quality time. Alam kong this is something that's so trite already, but now it's more meaningful when you do that.
Now is the time that you can really see the difference between quality time and quantity time. Dati kasi, di ba, ang dami mga nagka-clash na theories na you should spend more quantity time. Ito, quantity is quantity. Araw-araw, ginawa ng Diyos, di ba? Wala kayo nakikita kundi mukha ninyong dalawa. But quality time, really, the things that you do together spells the difference.
Right. And let me add to that, JP, no? You're right. Now we see the big difference between quality time and quantity time before. At saka meron pang isa. The quality time prior to the pandemic and the quality time today, stark difference talaga. So mas nanamnamin mo ngayon, you cherish it even more right now in the light of all these uncertainties. Yeah, and that's where, your thankfulness roots from.
Yeah. Ngayon nangyayari yung mga tinatawag nila hashtag moments. Diba?
Yes.
Kasi the moments that are happening because of nagmamature yung activities that you do together. And mas sinasabi nga, parang in the words of Marga, May, and the other millennials, mas kilig moments Diba? And it's harder, actually. It's harder to look for those kilig moments when you've been spending, diba, 18 hours together just figuring it out. And then if you're just at home, diba? So yeah, it's getting tougher, but still, those moments is what to be cherished. And yun naman mamimiss pag nakapag-regularize lahat. So, Louie, knowing that personal lives natin very much affected, yun nga, diba? The new memories that we're creating, those new moments, the kilig moments. Can you share with us, in terms of your career, when you started before, ano yung mga kilig moments in your career? And I'm sure baka meron din mga down moments that made you who you are today.
All right. The first one, the very, very first kilig moment was when somebody decided to hire me. Okay. That was really something because, from a fresh graduate standpoint, you feel good about it. After looking for a job for several months back in 1982 when I graduated, and somebody uh, took or made the decision to take me in, I was so happy. But that too was the downfall, first downfall experience, because I didn't last one day. Okay, I didn't last one day because I discovered that the boss was a sexual harasser individual, kumbaga. And I saw it by my very eyes. So literally, I abandoned my job that very afternoon. I never came back. And I'm not just going to mention the outfit and the person kasi sikat na sikat eh. Sikat na sikat yun. So magkasunod ka agad yun in one day, yung kilig moment and the the frustration. Pero syempre, bata ka pa. So you know that there's so much ahead of you. The second killing moment was when finally I got referred by my mom to a government agency. And when I got hired, the connection of my mom said, wala na bang kakambal ito? Na natuwa naman sa performance ko. No? So that was a real killing moment. And I stayed there for about 4.5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Then move on to the private sector, became I stayed on with a mining company. So I started to travel. No? For the first time in my life, I never realized that I would see myself lifting off the airport. Isa pa lang airport natin noon. Flying to Semirara. It's an islet in Antique, and stay there for 6 months. Back then, social work was not much of a focus. So it was we call it, the name of the mining company is Semirara Mining Corporation. I'm sure you know this. Ang tawag namin doon, Saudi Rara. Kasi parang it was a God-forsaken place. But today, they've improved a lot. I mean, in all fairness, they've improved a lot. Pero dinanas ko yun. And the sadness of it all being away from your parents, your siblings, halo na naman yon, upside, downside. Pero doon ko uli na pakinabangan yung sublimation, It's a term that it's a defense mechanism in psychology. When you feel down, when you feel bad, you do something good. So feeling ko doon ako parang doon nagsimula yung desire ko maging dalubhasa sa usapin ng HR, sa labor, etc. and job evaluation or compensation design, not just administration. And tuloy-tuloy na yun. When I went back to the government as HR of the Department of Tourism, HR head of the Department of Tourism, helped a lot. After that, I went in. That was the most kilig portion of my career. Bakit ka mo? That's where I met my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, who's now my wife.
In the government?
In the government. Okay. I was the head of HR. She was with the legal department. She's not a lawyer, by the way. But, I think I was the most eligible bachelor. She was the most eligible available lady. So, nagkatugma. And then, 33 years after, we're still together. Kaya yun ang most kilig moment of my life. And then moved to several organizations until I landed with a conglomerate as the overall head of HR, having 11 subsidiaries under my wings, with the direction of the chairman of the board that anything and everything about HR, all presidents are subordinate to me. Na hindi ko naman inabuso yun. Basta pagdating sa HR and all that, lahat sila nakasubordinate sa akin. In other words, they have to consult with me, etc., because they want to fix HR. And that was the best corporate years I've ever had, because naging partner ako ng mga presidente, maraming mga labor violations na naayos namin. And to this day, they remember what we did back then. And the low point there, that was the lowest then at the same time, because that's when I met, and Ira knows this story, si Ame knows this story. I met one of our executives, a corporate lawyer, introduced me to an American who's looking for somebody like me, and I never realized because of that our series of dinner meetings would end up I will end up joining him, therefore leaving this conglomerate. And I was brought to the US, met his wife na Pilipina, na Pinay, but only to find out na this guy was a fake. He was a fake. Pagbalik ko sa Pilipinas, nauna siyang bumalik eh. My car na nag-aabang na sa akin for a consulting, payment yun sa isang consulting engagement for about a year or so. Ginamit niya and he never returned it. So pagbalik ko sa Pilipinas, sabi ko, saan yung kotse? Bakit wala? Mahigit 2 buwan na palang ginagamit ng Amerikano na nambababae sa Pampanga. So we had to deport him. So bottom line, nawalan ako ng trabaho, nawalan ako ng opportunity. And that's where by accident, I started considering training before consulting. And, it was difficult. It was difficult because I thought all along I could weather the storms. But, yung bigla, it was a shock na you're forced to go entrepreneurial when you don't have your self-esteem to begin with. You don't have the connections in the business. Sa corporate, fine, doon ka nakilala. Pero sa training and consulting, and there are so many big players, by the way, back then. These are the big ones. Talk about John Clemens, W.D. Scott, Guthrie Jensen. These are the names, Little did I know, sila rin pala yung makakasama ko sa industriya over time. I almost gave up. I think Ame would remember that, noong time na yon talagang ang pinakabala ko lang was the octagon-shaped 2-peso coin, if you remember that. Maybe you were still a little kid. Yeah. So, kinabisado ko lahat ng payphones sa Legazpi and Salcedo Village. So, kung nakapila kayo sa isang payphone sa labas, nasa open area na, alam ko kung saan walang pila. Alam ko rin kung ano yung brand. Alam ko rin yung under repair. So, kinabisado ko talaga. Literally, alam ko yan kung saan ako pupunta. Pag magko-closing na ako, JP, pupunta na ako ng Mandarin Hotel. Kasi yung telephone booth nila, 6 yun eh. Katabi yun ng CR ng babae at saka ng mga lalaki. And so, it was quiet. So, but before I do that, manghihiram muna ako ng Americana, ng necktie na Pierre Cardin, so that I will be accepted. Yeah. So that brand was one of the oldest brands. I had to borrow those the coat and tie and even pants so that I will not come across when I enter Mandarin, the 5-star hotel, as somebody na yagit, Mm-hmm. So awa ng Diyos, my game plan worked. So doon ako nakikipag-negotiate.
I see. Inside Mandarin, inside the hotel.
Then when I do my leads pursuit, I go. It's not as rewarding as I thought it was at the start, to the point that I almost. But this is where the metal is tested. If you're really passionate and if you really love what you're doing, come hell, come high water, you're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen, and that was what Marga asked in one of the principles I live with. If you're really passionate about it, then don't ever turn your back on it or against it, because that will carry you through without you realizing it. And during this time, the pandemic, I also recommitted to that principle, to that philosophy, that I will not turn back on my training engagements, on my designing of programs, on my doing consulting services, because apart from the fact that I love doing it, sobrang mahal na mahal ko to, it allows me to help a lot of people. And I was able to prove that the past 2 months. An organization's executive will write me and say, after your session, Louie, I checked on all my staff, all 130 plus of them, and it seems like they took vitamin M. So I asked, what is vitamin M? Vitamin motivation. And I shed a tear. So talaga itutuloy ko to because this is where I'm very much passionate about. So that's the long and short of my story.
Yeah, pero titignan mo, there will always be a kilig moment, a downer moment, diba? But it's how you take the downer moment, convert it, diba? Not really convert it, but rise above it to create your next kilig moment.
Yes.
Kasi you'll notice, I'm sure you're also a business consultant, and together we've done a lot of talks and advisory with a lot of SMEs. Makikita mo rin sa tao yung tao na nag-give up,
Yeah.
Sa isang point na alam mo naman may pag-asa pa, alam mo may pagkakataon pa, pero pag sila na mismo nagsabi, ayoko na, give up na. Yun, doon ka nalulungkot eh.
Right.
Yun yung downer na wala, hindi mo na magagawang kilig moment yan. But again, look what happened to you. I mean, you had a very, very fulfilling and fruitful career as an HR
Yeah.
executive, even to the point that presidents, di ba, are subjected to you pagdating sa mga HR policies of their companies. And yet,
Right.
there was the one downer moment that nobody expected. I mean,
Yep.
you couldn't have had a single clue na fake pala yung foreign, yung American na yun, di ba?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Kasi I remember,
Yeah.
napakwento mo sa akin, you went to the States, right? You went to the States, but right after, you had to come back.
Yeah, Union. That was the one, JP, you know. I left, can you imagine, December 27 of that year. I came back in March. So technically, hindi ko nakasama sa bagong taon yung mga babies ko pang anak and my wife, you know. But my wife has always supported me and never questioned my decision pagdating sa business and career. And syempre, nakakalungkot lang kasi first time ako nawalay ng pagkalayo-layo. Alright? And then pag mag-overseas call ka pa, overseas call pa noon, JP, no? So, mahal ang bayad.
Collect call ba o charged?
The charge. Buti
Charged.
na pinapayagan ko mag-charge sa US.
Oo.
Part of the part, you know? And first time I encountered snow and I told myself, maganda lang pala to sa litrato. Pag nandun ka na, madidisgrasya ka sa snow, you know? Went through snowstorm and all that. But, you know, it was clear to me that going abroad and staying there is not for me. Probably for visiting and all that. Filipino pa rin ako kahit anong gawin. Let me just share to you what there was a funny incident when I was there, you know. So the first time akong kakain ng lunch dun sa bahay ng Amerikano. So ang inahin sa akin tinidor at saka kutsilyo. So I asked for a spoon. And so this American told me, "Hey dude, when you're in the US, you better learn how to wear the fork and learn how to use the combination of fork and knife." And I go, you know, no matter what you do with my papers, no matter what you do with my habits here, I will still remain to be a Filipino. So give me my spoon, all right? Because malinaw sa akin na kahit saan mo ko dalhin, Filipino pa rin ako, and that is where all these things are rooting from. Gusto kong tulungan mga Pilipino. Like there was somebody who called me the other day. We'll come up with a team, a crack team that will hack the international arena. So sabi ko, mas maganda kung tinatarget natin Pilipino pa rin. To which the person agreed. I'm not a racist. I have nothing against with other foreigners. Pero yung Pilipino kailangan ng tulong eh. So yes. Tulungan natin.
Napaka-kailangan ng tulong. In all aspects, I mean, the talents here, we see a lot of talents getting out of the country because of opportunities outside. And that's why nahuhuli ang Pilipinas, nawawalan tayo ng talents. That's why it's very, very key yung mga entrepreneurs natin din dito, giving more jobs to people, right? Even starting small, at least they're helping the economy locally rather than unahin pa yung sa labas. But that's a different story. Now, Louie, I wanna go back into that. So there was you went back in March. You went back to the Philippines in March, and when you came back, alam mo na tapos na, wala na. I have to start myself on my own. Ganun ba?
Right.
And then you decided to go to training and consulting.
Right. Correct.
Was it immediate? Was it immediate na okay, training and consulting gagawin ko? Or did you have some other business examples that you wanted to test? Like, gusto ko rin maging restauranteur, baka pwede, or gusto ko magsimula ng ganito. O nakafocus ka sa training talaga?
Yeah, it was immediate and nakafocus ako sa training. Because I didn't know whether I could do restaurant business or whatever. That's the only thing I know, except music, you know. Kasi I play classical and jazz guitar. So, kung may pamilya ka na, back then, pagka musikero ka, wala kang kita. Hindi ka tulad ngayon. Alright? So, hindi ka pwedeng mag-scale ng walls ng music ng Tin Pan Alley. Because for so many years, nawala ka dun. That was just a hobby back then. Pero nung nag-aaral ka, pero nung pinursu mo na yung career mo sa HR, sa OD, doon ako nag-zoom in, no? Kasi kung babalik naman ako sa dating nag-employ sa akin, JP, pride na lang yung pride na lang ang umiral sa akin na nakakahiya. But they took me in as their, they became my client, so to speak, one of the first clients. So they promised me that they will be my client. So it happened. But it happened siguro about a year after, when I was already almost giving up this business. So I thought about my competence. I thought about training. I thought about the talent that the Lord has given me, and I just concentrated on that, but with all the ups and downs, JP, believe you me, you were getting something like close to 60,000 a month as your compensation, and then suddenly you end up getting 3,000 in 3 months. So ang layo nung hahabulin mo. And then sabi ko, sige, let me pursue pa rin this. So 6 months later, nag 7,000 na ako in 3 months. Maliit pa rin. Pero that was a tremendous jump. Tremendous jump. So sabi ko, sige, let me give it another period, maybe 6 months. And that's where everything happened already. On my second year, there was really no turning back. Tuloy-tuloy na yon. And sabi nga ng mga kasama ko sa industriya, you, after about 3 to 5 years, you're raking it in, Louie. First time ka makabili ng brand new car, na ikaw nagdesisyon, etc. Alam mo yung ganon? But all those JP are just the trimmings. I will always owe, and I will forever be indebted to the clients that trusted me and my services. And that's why this is my way of paying forward sa mga tulong na binigay na. Natulungan din yung mga maliliit. So yung malalaki, nandyan din yan eh. They still touch base with you. They still want your services. Pero yung maliliit, who are the next big ones, ang dapat talagang tulungan.
Yeah. Actually, that's where I'm coming at. Kasi understandably, when someone starts a business, especially on the training and the consulting gig, someone needs to get yung mga anchor accounts, those who can contract with you like 2-3 times in a year, 4 times in a year, kasi siya steady. And then I've noticed a lot of the consulting companies before this pandemic, before all of this, kasi marami rin lumalapit sa amin, nag-o-offer na services. Parang ang focus nila talaga is someone who can do not just a one-time gig, but has to be a 2-3 time gig. But now we are seeing, and I understand, I've been to some of your trainings and I understand how you sell your trainings. Nakafocus ka dun sa mga, kahit isang beses ka lang umattend, okay lang. May matututunan ka at may magagawa ka kasunod nitong training na to. And the fact that your trainings, I'm not gonna mention it here, but almost parang nagkape lang tayo in terms of kung magkano binayaran ko eh. I mean, gagastos lang ako para magkape sa Starbucks or kung saan man. Ilalagay ko lang dito, natutupay utak ko, di ba? Parang ganon siya eh, kamura. So that strategy ba came in because of the pandemic o dati mo nang ginagawa din yung ganon na para sa maliit? Kasama sila sa modules mo sa program mo.
All this happened during the pandemic, JP, kasi I went through a lot. From March 15 to the end of April, it was a medical condition that I had to deal with. In fact, no March 15 nga, simula ng community quarantine sa Luzon, tinatakbo ako sa ospital. So, kung kinausap niyo ako noong Marso, walang nangyari sa atin because I went through a lot. In fact, last week I finished a 3-series session sa isang malaking organization. Malaki in the sense that they are a group of companies, very mission-based, They asked me to talk about psychosocial development and management, Sabi ko, why me? You probably need something clinical or mga psychiatrists, mga legitimate counselor. Ang sabi sa akin, kasi naka-attend sila doon sa in-attendan niyo JP na session. Sabi, we want your experience because pag clinical, that's the next level. My people are not for that. We want to listen to you, how you went through it and how you overcame the difficulties between March 15 to a couple of months after. So hanggang napag-usapan nga namin kung paano ako na-inspire ng Panginoon Now, why don't you start writing, Louie? Total, you're very much into writing. But this time, you have to make it public. Kaya, yun yung in-upload ko kagabi. If you might want to take a look at it. All right? So, alam mo bang, dito ako nagulat, JP, Marga, and Ame, no? Nung lumabas yon in time for my birthday, no? That was June 5. And June was also the start of the paying of taxes already, di ba? Kasi dinifer yan eh. Alam mo ba dahil sa publication, I was able to pay my tax dues because of that. And you know, I met many friends after that. I met new clients after that. And I was so thankful. At tumuloy-tuloy na yon. And since I've been doing a lot of trainings all my life, I joined the band nung sa online learning session, but I decided na hindi ko bibigay ng libre. Bakit ka mo? Kasi ang game plan ng karamihan when they do webinars, they give it for free. And I felt bad for them, you know. I felt bad in the sense na sana kahit papano maningil kayo. Kasi kayo yan eh. That's you. That's your soul that you are giving up. But, you know, I cannot blame them also because that's part of the common. But I decided not to play that game. It was high risk, JP. It was high risk. Because people were looking for two things. Eh. At somebody even slapped this on my face. And number one, dapat authority ka. Number two, dapat libre. So, you have to be an authority. You have to be offering your services for free. So, yung authority, that is relative, you know. Some people will look at a young person like you, JP, as an authority by virtue of your position. Some people would look at you because you've been here for the last because you've been here for the last 30 years. Some would will consider you as authority if you're well known, diba? So it's relative. But yung free, that is the space na talagang makabago. Yeah. But I did not play that game. While high risk, it paid off. And then,
well, honestly, Louie, the free thing did not last. Honestly, you know, kasi nung simula, well, technically sa akin din, kasi marami din naman ako mga nakaka-partner na mga institution ng mga trainers, no. And nung simula, nung March, April, mostly April, May, yan, saksakan ng libre.
Yes, grabe.
Pero pagdating ng end of May, nagreklamo na yung mga consultants, sinasabi hindi na sustainable.
Yes.
Talagang hindi na sustainable. At nangyayari is nauubusan na sila ng content na pwede ibigay ng libre, na to the point na yung mga mamahaling trainings na ang hinihingi ng tao na gawing libre, hindi naman pwede yun. Kasi, diba?
Correct.
Pwede.
Agree.
Mawawalan sila ng hanap buhay nila pagkatapos ng lahat ng to. So you notice a lot of them are starting to do miniature seminars na may bayad.
Right.
Pero pinaghiwa-hiwala yung isang malaking training into 4 or 5 different parts. Para it's easier to digest, it's easier to afford then, no? Correct. In fact, may napansin nga ako, may isa akong kaibigan na nagkaroon kami ng series na libre. As in series na libre. Tapos pinaalam niya, pwede ko bang gamitin tong series na to? And I will charge. Sabi ko, Pards, walang patent yan, walang IP yan, go ahead. Isa lang hinihingi ko, isama mo lang yung pangalan ko dun sa ilalim at sabihin mo na collaborative to. So, he did. And he's charging mga 500 to 750 pesos per session. And I think it's doing okay naman ngayon, no? So, again, hindi talaga siya, tapos na ang mundo ng libre. And kung mapapansin nyo rin naman sa GlobalLinker mismo, medyo kumonti na yung mga webinars. Nauubusan na rin ng content eh. And darating talaga sa point na we can tell the SMEs, it's time to stop listening, stop watching, start doing.
Yes.
Diba?
Yes.
Lahat ng napanood nyo, gawin nyo na. Kasi, at ngayon, mas kailangan nila yung mga kagaya mo, Louie, kasi ngayon kailangan nila yung mga tao na habang ginagawa ko to, hindi na yung sinasabi mo sa akin kung dapat ko gawin eh. Kung hindi yung kino-correct mo na yung ginagawa. Diba?
Correct.
It's more of hindi na siya hindi lang basta consultant, mentor na talaga eh. Diba? Ito yung tamang landas, napupunta ka dito sa kaliwa o kumanang ka ng konti, gina-guide mo na talaga. I think that's that's where the SMEs needs to go right now.
Right. Kaya lumabas din yung selling or serving virtual learning session ko because of what you just said, JP, you know, na halo-halo na yun. In fact, na I don't want to give it for free, but I'm not going to charge you an arm and a leg. Okay. I'd like the content to connect right away. That before you even ramp up your sales, we move towards recovery muna. Yourself, your people, and your organization, and then your customers. And that's when, you know. So right now, hopefully marami nang nakapag-recover kahit or papunta dun sa recovery stage so that they can think clearly now. It's high time, sabi mo nga, you know, start doing na. Hindi na pwede yung mga dati. Kasi the change, that phenomenon of change today is like a roller coaster. Like dati libre, biglang sumunod, bagsak presyo. Ang daming teasers na, di ba? Na dating 10,000, ngayon $10,000 magiging $27, you know. Na alam ba hanggang ngayon lumalabas na last call. Nagsimula yung last call na yun, July pa lang ha. Hanggang ngayon last call pa rin.
Oo nga. Oo nga eh.
Right. Kaya people try to change, getting the right formula, finding the right combo. But you know, you can't blame these people because lahat tayo giniba ni pandemya. But once you see the formula, then stick to it.
Right.
Stick to it for the moment, and then try to open your. Go ahead, JP.
Sorry. Go ahead. Try to open your.
Try to open your minds and hearts then for other creative methods and methodologies para makita mo rin na maybe temporary. Kasi nga we're in an atmosphere, an environment of uncertainty. So at least you have other options to check out kung sakaling this one is not relevant or is not needed for now. Yun.
Right. So Louie, now that we are reaching, well, Burr months na, Pasko na technically, no? Christmas season na. We're reaching, and people are forecasting that come October, it will be a lot lighter in terms of economy, in terms of people going out, etc. What do you foresee is the future of this that you're doing? I mean, towards year end and towards 2021, how are you? Do you have any plans of evolving this? Do you have any plans of getting bigger in terms of market share, yung mga ganon?
Alam mo, JP, no, to be candid about it, all my 30 years doing training and consulting, I never even thought about market share. I never even thought about market share at all, at all. Simply because, never. Despite the fact that there are tons of players in this industry, not forgetting to mention the foreign players that are in the country, by the way. Ang sa akin lang kasi, we can never saturate the market. As you attempt to penetrate a market, may new market na mag-emerge, di ba? So, hindi mo mahahabol yun. So, you just need to collaborate. And sa akin, you just have to be very purposeful sa gusto mong gawin. Because it's the purpose that will be a determining factor kung magiging relevant ka pa rin o hindi. So, one, I never considered market share. Of course, I help many organizations when we do strategic planning. But as far as my positioning is concerned, never could consider yan. Now, how do I want to see myself during the bear months and beyond? Okay, I see myself still doing the same thing I'm doing, still recovering. And I have to be candid and honest about that. Because if I will talk about year-on-year increase or compare it to it's going to be unfair to me. It's going to be unfair to my clients too. Kasi tataasan ko ng todo presyo, which is not going to be good. All right? So now, my game plan is really doing collaboration, looking for platforms that can help me help people like UB GlobalLinker. And I'm not pulling your leg, by the way. Totoo ito. Alam mo yan, JP, no? Nagsimula sa aking mapatunayan yung belief na yan was UB GlobalLinker. At nanganak na. Like, I'm now part of the faculty of Inquirer Academy. They touched base with me 3 weeks ago. So now they're marketing my uunahin nga nila selling or serving. It seems like it made a big dent sa kanila. So, and then hopefully it will swell into a full sales training program. And then there's another friend of mine who's creating a team para we can start marketing sa international arena. So pagdating sa corporate training, that's yours, Louie. And then I want to invite this person to join UB GlobalLinker. Celebrity to, JP. She's a very good friend of mine, very dear friend. Si Beverly Verhel. I don't know if you've encountered.
Yeah.
Right. And I mentioned UB GlobalLinker sa kanya the last time we talked. So we're venturing into an international parang platform to help din. Pero ang gusto mangyari ng grupong yun is people like yung gusto mangyari, the people to join the team at selected yun niya are those na mapuso, really genuinely and sincerely interested in helping people. Kaya sinisimulan niya na yun, and then hopefully by November ma-launch na namin yung project na yun. So everything is still up in the air, pero she's working on a lot of things now. So yun ang nakikita ko. But to fully recover as in like pre-pandemic gains, my feet will be above the ground pag sinabi ko yun. And that's wrong. That shouldn't be. Kasi uncertain pa rin. So you just do it slowly now. Alalay ka lang. And be thankful na kahit papaano may pumapasok na pera. You know? Kahit papaano may naniniwala pa rin sa'yo na kailangan yung servisyo mo at this point in time. You know? And it seems like it's picking up. GP. It seems like the training business is picking up little by little. And I'm pleasantly surprised. Na bakit, pick up na when a month or two ago, talagang kahit anong tumbling ang gawin mo, sabihin na, walang panahon sa pag-training. Sino iti-train mo? Lahat nasa work from home. But, nakapag-adjust na kasi kahit paano.
Right. Sige. Actually, Louie, we've gone beyond supposedly the time that we have for the interview. But alam mo, every time I talk to you, talagang feeling ko kahit 2 oras tayo mag-usap, 3 oras mag-telebabad ng panahon na yun, ano? It will never be a dull moment with you talking like this. But just a final thought. A lot of the SMEs, a lot of the entrepreneurs, whether it's in the training consulting industry, whether it's in the food beverage, whatever industry it is, a lot of them are going through that lowest point ng business nila. Maybe something that you would like to tell them that can help, at least, kumbaga parang sinabi, ito, #Louie Villena galing ito, to help motivate them a little bit na huwag kang susuko, parang gano'n. Anything that you want to share?
Well, the whole pandemic experience is a humbling experience. And I've used that at the very beginning already. Nung unti-unti na ako mag-recover. And what does it mean to be humble in the light of this pandemic? You need to do a lot of self-assessment vis-a-vis relevance. If you think, and if your sound assessment shows that you're not relevant anymore, then move to another frontier so that you will be relevant. And relevance is really about being able to help people. So, and the self-assessment should be an honest-to-goodness self-assessment na maaaring hindi ka na relevant. Kaya nga may mga nagsarang kumpanya ngayon, JP, di ba? They believed that they were not relevant. But they did not stop there. Di ba? They ventured into different spaces, whether online or otherwise. Na-retrench yung isang kaibigan kong vice president. Jesus Christ. His cooking business now is kicking like crazy. And I never realized, sabi ko, magaling ka pala magluto. Mariusip na yan. I mean, yun eh. If you see out of your sound assessment that what you're offering before is not relevant, then accept it. Move to another frontier, di ba? But if it is, then find other methodologies and techniques or ways and means to make it a little more relevant now because may tweaking na kailangan gawin. I'll give you one example before we put a close to this. No? Kung kinausap ako ng mga experts sa ISO, etc., they've been starting at the height of the ECQ lockdown natin. No? Ang kailangan daw business recovery, ang kailangan daw business continuity planning. Sabi ko, yeah, totoo. Pero yung modelong ginamit natin before, hindi ubra ngayon. We have to tweak that. Because the model was designed with the pre-pandemic period in mind. So up to disaster recovery ka lang. Anong pinagkaya ba ng disaster sa pandemic? Disaster is localized. Ito pandemic global So we have to tweak it that way. So yun yung sinasabi kong tweak it to be a little more relevant, and you have to be really patient there. Hindi ganun kadali yun. So your content will now become relevant.
Yeah, patience, very, very critical yan this time. And then patience normally nawawala, nauubos if dalawa yun Louie, yung sinabi mo kanina, paghahaluin ko na, the relevance and the purpose. Kung wala yung dalawang key ingredients na yan, no matter how patient you are, it will never happen. So you really have to, while you are patient, you have to be looking at your relevance and your purpose. And exactly what you said, purpose contains your own self-purpose and your own self-talents, your own strengths. It contains that. And relevance is how you bring that talent out to share to other people and be there exactly when and where they need it. Diba? So yun yung
True. Nicely put, JP. Nicely put. That was a very good summary. Totoo yun. Yeah. Kung wala ka rin purpose, kahit relevant ka, wala rin.
That's what I learned from you. Diba? Of all these times na nag-uusap tayo. Although, Louie, thank you so much for the time. We went, I think, more than 15. I think we had 30 minutes of talking. But don't worry, we will use this. We will use everything kasi napakaganda nung story na sinabi mo, yung history mo, how you survived it, and so on and so forth, and the advices that you're giving. Everyone, to all those who are watching, we would like to invite you. Louie is part of UnionBank GlobalLinker. Just type in his name and you will find it there. He also posts his events, his trainings in the events page. Diba, Louie, you sometimes post it in the events page. And he just mentioned earlier, he wrote an article and he posted it inside GlobalLinker. So you can get in touch with him there. Honestly, guys, nung kinuha ko yung session with Louie, on that selling and
selling or serving,
eye-opener for some things. I know I've been in sales for a long time. I've been in sales for 12 years already. Pero there are things there that's very, very critical in this point and how we pivot to the future. So, kumbaga parang ini-endorse ko na rin Louie. Louie's training, selling and serving. It's also there in Linker. So guys, maraming salamat for being here and we hope to catch you in episode 3. Huwag po kayo magsasawa. Thank you so much. Mabuhay kayo lahat. Bye, Louie.
Bye. Thank you. God bless. All right.